day 3 of the Project Edward road trip, and we've been invited here today by the Metropolitan Police to come and take part in their Safer Speeds Day. And I'm here on the Whitechapel Road, and as you can see in the background, it's quite a busy road here in central London. We're not really sure what we're going to capture today, but I'm sure there's going to be many different forms of transportation. We've already seen some micromobility scooters pass by, some of the London bikes, but already to my left, I'm seeing a number of cars being pulled over. And what we'll see later on is a few more interventions with these vehicles and the drivers and some of the officers here to find out what's going on.
My name's Daniel Arnold. I'm a policing inspector with the Metropolitan Police Service responsible for roads policing across North East London. So today, as you can see, we've got a single carriageway road, but it's got lots of road users. We've got dedicated cycle lane, we've got a dedicated bus lane, we've got a lane in each direction, and we've got exactly the same on the opposite carriageway as well. And it's quite a narrow street. The traffic is really busy, and then we've got pedestrian traffic as well to contend with. So what we're looking at today is a small operation looking at engaging with road users, whether they be in a car, on a push bike or on a moped, and also looking at e-scooters as well. We're looking at engaging with them, educating them about the road space that they've got and how they've got to share that with other road users. And we're also looking at any offences that we might come across while we're looking at here. We've got what's called a police spotter a bit further down the road. So they'll be looking at people to making sure that they're wearing seat belts and they're not on their mobile phones. And if they are, we can then pull them in here to a safe space and have that grown-up conversation with them.
So this is a Truvelo Pro Laser 4. It's a Home Office approved speed detection device. Essentially, it's got a sight on the top. I'm looking through the sight at the number plate of the cars coming towards me, pulling the trigger, and then that just basically makes a speed reading of the vehicle by firing lasers out. And then the laser coming back to we call it a gun, I suppose. It measures the time between the laser bouncing back, and that's how it records speed. So just measuring the speed of the vehicles passing towards me or coming towards me, and looking in full.
What sort of distance are we talking here? How far ahead are you looking? Or?
So currently I'm only looking at about 200 metres ahead of me. The device will work up to 750 metres. Over that distance, the laser only spreads as wide as about a foot, so 30 centimetres. So it's quite an accurate piece of equipment for us.
We were tasked to obviously deal with the education and the enforcement side of traffic offences.
Yeah.
It's one of your main routes into London. So whereas you've got the A13 and things like that, this runs parallel for a fair distance of the A13. It's a good route in from the A12 as well, to get to the city, so you get a lot of traffic to pass through this road. Obviously, if you can see the wrongdoing that you've done, there's a bit of remorse there, there's a bit of understanding of the dangers as well, you can take that on board, then for something low level, I'm quite happy to have a conversation. But yeah, obviously that discretion is there. Ultimately though, it can be a fine, and for use of a mobile phone, it'll be penalty points as well. With that one, she hasn't contravened the light, there was no one else around her, there was no danger caused to any person, and granted she held it in her hand, but she didn't look like she was talking, she didn't look like she was tapping away, if that makes sense. So it was held up by the window. We'll have a conversation, we'll see what her reasons are, and then go from there basically.
What a day that's been, and I've had the opportunity to just have a debrief with the Project Edward team here, just to pick up on a number of the highlights that we've experienced today. Spending, I would say, a very privileged day with our friends here at the Met Police. One point I should mention here is that the Met Police have one of the few dedicated road safety units in the UK, which I think showed today with certain times of as much as 20 to 25 people being present in uniform for this exercise. So it certainly shows you their commitment to this task. One of the team managed to go out with one of the pursuit officers, and he managed to get some excellent commentary there in terms of what offending looks like. The way that they engaged with the public, the empathy, the way they talked about education, it came across in a really nice way that I think the public really start to understand the role of policing. So again, a very positive point that we picked up. But one or two things that were added to the equation today, and I think will come out more tomorrow, is the importance of infrastructure. We went to 2 different places today, and a number of things struck home is that we seem to be aware based on the data where the trouble is. Or if you're going to fish where to cast the net. But what is it we're doing differently to try and sort of improve that area? So if we're not going to catch the bad people there, what can we do to actually reduce the numbers of people offending in a particular spot so it returns to zero? If we do that, then that is when we know we're doing the job right, I suppose. But I'd just like to end this by saying what a tremendous day. Great big thank you on behalf of the Project Edward team to everyone involved here at the Met Police. And please keep up the good work.